Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much for the intro, Mrs. Maya, and for the organizers for the amazing putting everything together today. I'm so happy to be with you. Thank you, Dr. Rami, for kind invitation. So happy to see you the second time. Thanks for coming, but I heard that you already escaped your classes, right? So we are making you a favor. Do you have your phones with you? Should we start? Can we scan this? Today I'm gonna talk about something that is so dear to my heart because I have been working in entrepreneurship almost for a decade. And as I mentioned earlier, I like when things get a bit messy at the beginning. You know why? Because this is the world of entrepreneurship. This is how all startups that you see, they start with a mess. And then the founders somehow find their way to build something that changes people's lives. We'll try to go to this journey together today to see the mindset, how entrepreneurs think, and how they manage to build these extraordinary projects. We will talk a little bit about investments, entrepreneurship, startup versus small business, the three traits and characteristics of a founder, and then a little bit of AI. Can you read this number? It's $350 billion. This is the amount invested in startups during the last year. Do you know how big is this number? I will give you a perspective. Think about Turkey, the whole country. What do you think the amount total government spending in Turkey during the same year, last year? Have a guess. Yeah, again, the majority will think it's 500 billion, 250 billion, sorry. So which is less than the amount invested in startups. 40 billion of that amount was invested in AI. Another huge number. So just a few days ago, Elon Musk got the report of having almost $50 billion, according to Forbes. Why all of this money going to invest from investments and investors' pockets to startups and founders like Elon Musk and the others? So you have to think like an investor to get an idea where the money flows. If you stand in front of an investor, you can convince them why should they invest in you, right? So it's good to follow their thoughts a little bit. Investors put the money and they trust the startup founders because they want to grow their money. It's like a seed. It's literally called pre-seed and seed investment. And there are any reasons, but two big factors affect the investors' mindset and motivate them to invest. ROI, I don't know if you heard about this before. Return on investment. Basically, it's what they gain back after they invest the money. You don't want your money to be sitting in the bank. And of course, investors are so smart and they are successful. This is how they made the money. So they wanted even to grow bigger. One of the investors in Uber managed to turn $5,000 into $2 million in a few years. You want to be part of something bigger, right? Imagine if you were the first investor in SpaceX, for example, exploring the space, or a cure for cancer, some medication. You always want to be part of something bigger and a bigger reason. These are the biggest two factors affecting investors' decisions. Also, it's worth mentioning, 99% of startups fail. So it's actually a very difficult journey. Like I told you, it's a mess. So among the 1% of these startups, you might be someone who built a successful one. It's worth understanding how it happens because you should be the next founder. Anybody thought of an idea and want to put it in action and implement it? Anyone has any crazy idea? Okay, one in the whole crowd, really? Two, okay. Three, okay, a couple of. I will show you that any one of you actually can be an entrepreneur. Let's see. What do you think about when investors put the money in a startup? What is the first thing that they look into and check very well? Evaluates the big idea or the industry or the team or the money. Which one of these is number one for the investors, especially in early stage startups? When investors put the money first in any startup, they look into the team because ideas, like I told you, might fail. It's 99% failing. So you need to put your money with someone who can fail and come back again. So they have to be very persistent. So this is why we're going to discover today what are these traits and characteristics of startups founders. What we see is always the success, these billions of dollars. But behind that, and deep down, it's a lot of failure, sacrifice, disappointment. So you have to have this grit that Dr. Ramsey will mention a lot today. And you have to have knowledge, deep knowledge, and to gain the knowledge is very difficult. This is why it's very important to evaluate the team and the founders rather than the idea. In the startup world, idea is worth nothing. So who are these entrepreneurs that investors trust and put their money in their pockets? Let's take some examples. Let's zoom out and see who are these entrepreneurs and how can we find the commonality between them. We have someone like Salman Khan. He's not the actor. This is the other one. He's the first person, the pioneer in online education. So without him, I hope many of you using his websites. Khan Academy, yes. He was teaching his niece online, just making the videos, and it became a big thing. Without him, we wouldn't have Coursera. Imagine. Founders of Coursera, Udacity, they got inspired by him. Someone. Yeah. Who's that? Dr. Ramsey didn't want me to put his picture, but he's an entrepreneur, right? Very successful. Another one, Omar. Omar is one of my mentees. He's 21 years old. He has 100,000 followers on TikTok. He started 2 years ago because he likes graphic. Now he has his own prints. He makes a couple of $1,000s every month. He's one of my first mentees, started together 2 years ago. And he started as a freelance. Now he has his own course and all products. So according to Oxford definition, an entrepreneur is a person who owns a business and taking a huge amount of risk. So we want to extract the traits of these entrepreneurs from this definition. They are running the business, especially when this involves a huge amount of risk. But all of this money that you looked into, and we mentioned earlier, they were invested in a specific kind of projects and business. They call it startup. And startup is different than small and medium business. And like I mentioned before, turning $5,000 to $2 million happens kind of only in startups. And that happens for a reason. Startups grow exponentially compared to regular business, like a restaurant. In a restaurant, you make money linear, according to the people who are coming to visit you, how big your team, and so on. With startups, imagine an app, TikTok, for example, or Snapchat. It can serve millions of people instantly. Do you study anybody here and knows the difference between exponential and linear algebra? So what are the three traits? First, seeking the opportunities. They see the opportunity and they take it. They are leaders. But also they're so smart because they see things from a different angle. They have the ownership. They always want to implement it themselves. Investors, on the other hand, they put the money and let it grow. But founders, they take the responsibility. And they do a huge amount of financial risk. Because some of them, they leave their jobs, they put money from their pockets, they take it from the family, they lose it. It's a big risk. This is the biggest question usually when someone asks me, I want to be an entrepreneur, I don't know how to find an idea. Finding an idea is the easiest thing in a startup. Because any entrepreneur, like I told you before, they have the knowledge of something. And this is why they look into things from a different perspective. There are many ways to find ideas. We will go through this in the workshop in details. But I want to focus right now on the passion. Finding your passion. And when you're passionate about something, you are doing it every day. It's not a hobby. It's not something you do aside when you have free time. And this passion gives you the energy and the perspective and the excitement to do things every day, even if they fail. And ask yourself this question, what is the thing that I like to do every day? I know most of you like to play PlayStation, for example, or doing something not productive. But I want to do this experiment with you. I want you to imagine that tomorrow morning, you found in your bank account $10 million. But what would you do? This is the question. Would you continue doing exactly what you're doing right now? Or feel lost and unsure of what to do? Wait until you get the money and then decide what to do. And that would differentiate entrepreneurs than others. If you are doing exactly what you're doing right now, congratulations, you have your passions. You go through your passion. Because entrepreneurs start with nothing, with so limited resources, so limited time, they transform and turn chaos into something. So they keep doing it every day. You know the story of Cristiano, right? You know how hard did he work to get where he is? So he was doing exactly that 40 years ago, before he becomes Cristiano, before he gets the 10 million. Now he's a billionaire. But he was doing exactly what he's doing right now. And this passion with the deep knowledge about something gives you the edge and becomes some sort of art. Because artists and entrepreneurs are alike. They do crazy stuff, people don't understand them, they don't know why they are doing all these things. But then when there are companies like Elon from Tesla, right? Nobody believed in when we started. Now everybody wants to be a Tesla investor. I know that you like linear algebra. You study maybe in every mathematical class, how to get the line equation and how to find the intersection, the y and x. Imagine that this equation, this simple form, is the fundamental block in AI that you're using every day right now. It's linear algebra, and that's it. But again, when you look into it from a different perspective, you start to build something that nobody else can see until you build it. So I want you to think with me, since we talked about knowledge and getting the deep knowledge from school and from life and everywhere. The majority of founders around the world, would you think they are more dropouts who didn't go to university? Undergrad, postgrad, or with an MBA certificate? Give you a loan. So dropouts who didn't go to the university. Postgrad is master's and doctorate degree. Undergrad is bachelor. So the misconception that you all have, and majority of people, that the founders of startups are dropouts. But according to statistics done in Stanford, the least amount of startups, founders, they are dropouts. And the majority come from well-educated background. Bachelor, master, and doctorates. So who should use AI today? Everybody. As a teacher, as a student, as a professor, as a founder, everybody. And I emphasize that much on what you learn at school because it gives you this perspective to the world and you learn these angles. I hope you learned one thing or two from this presentation, and I'm so excited to be with you during the week to do the workshop. We will learn together how to make a plan and how to talk to investors and how to pitch your idea in 1 minute. So that will be your challenge. Thank you so much.